What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. It's so wonderful to see you here again. As always, my Mondays are brightened by your smiling faces. Today, what we're going to talk about is a typical day of eating for me. As you know, I am on a fat loss phase. I am trying to lose right now another 20 pounds. I'm 260 as of this morning to get down to a weight class to compete again in powerlifting. Very exciting stuff, but I figured I'd put together a video of my daily routine, my daily eating habits, with some tips and tricks that I have picked up as we go along to kind of help you make better food choices, find ways to circumvent hunger, all that jazz that's gonna keep you on your fat loss phase. Because at the end of the day, the best diet is the one that you can stick to. So no matter what, as long as you're within the calorie deficit and you can stay consistent with it, it's going to work for you. So without any further ado, let's head over to Past Jonah, who's gonna be a little less energetic to talk you through meal number one, which is breakfast.
Oh, good morning, folks. We're here in the kitchen. My voice is rough. My eyes are looking rough. I'm tired. It's 5 a.m. About to go to work, but we got to get our first meal in. So I just wanted to check in with you. Usually a first meal for me is going to be a carb source and a protein source. Obviously, I've been going with oatmeal and just mixing protein powder in it now for the past 8 weeks since I've been on this cut. But I've also added in these super cool carb counter tortillas. 35 calories, 10 grams of carbs, I think, are the macros on that. 35 calories for a tortilla, you're not gonna beat it. It's just a nice little boost to the morning. I was doing a banana, but as my calories have kind of come down a little bit more and more, I've cut out a little bit more of the fruit. So that is just what I'm having for breakfast. This does not mean that you have to cut out fruit, but I wanted to save the calories for later in the day because I find that I'm more hungry as the day goes on. And in the morning, I can kind of get away with a smaller breakfast. So in total, my breakfast is gonna come out to around 300 calories. I'll put the macros up on the screen right here if you wanna check it out. And we'll get a shot of what it looks like when it's all whipped up and done.
Thank you so much, Past Jonah. Like I said, he was a little low energy, hadn't had my coffee yet, but that was breakfast. Moving on to the supplements that I take and a little bit of a better explanation on how breakfast goes in the morning.
Meal number one is when I take my morning supplements. I'm not a huge supplement guy because I don't think that a lot of them are very bioavailable. A lot of them are not very effective. However, when I'm on a calorie deficit like this, I do restrict some of my whole food high vitamin sources, like I said, fruits. So I do like to supplement with a multivitamin just to make sure that I'm covering all my bases. Again, not a huge fan of multivitamins. I feel like it's better to get your vitamins, your micronutrient content from the food that you're eating. But in my case, I feel like just to cover my bases, I'll throw that in there. It's cheap. It's a one-a-day men's multivitamin. I also do vitamin D. I take my Claritin in the morning because your boy's got allergies. So I take my Claritin. I'm on a herbal supplement right now. I'm kind of testing it out. It's called Tongat Ali. I've heard a bunch of things from it, trying to see if we can bump up the testosterone in the body, naturally, of course. But we're giving that a shot. I've been on this for about 3 months. I feel like it helps daily with a little bit of burst of some energy. I don't know. It's all anecdotal. I don't have any data to back it up. I took a blood test before I started, and I'm going to take another one after. But that's that. And then I do my fish oil for the day. Again, none of this stuff is necessary. Supplements are take it or leave it. The evidence on a lot of them is very iffy, but I feel like the ones that I talked about are a little bit more solid. You know, I'm not a super big fan of huge experimentation, but those are what I'm taking there. And then I've also switched off of coffee recently for some raw burn. It's not for the fat burning effects, obviously. More so, the coffee wasn't doing it caffeine-wise. I think that caffeine can be super important on a fat loss phase. As your energy begins to drop, caffeine can help pick you back up and get your daily total energy expenditure back up and going. So I am around 450 milligrams of caffeine a day, and I get 150 milligrams from this right here. It's the peach rings flavor. I don't really care what else is in it in terms of green tea extract or whatever other garbage they say is gonna help burn fat. I don't really think that the evidence bears that out, but I do think that the caffeine is going to assist me, bump me up a little bit. And you guys will see, when I'm filming for meal number 2, I'll be a little bit more awake, and that'll be because the caffeine is in. So that's just all of breakfast that I wanted to get covered, and I will see you for meal number 2.
One big thing that I want to point out to is the importance of starting your day with some protein. Protein is an incredible macronutrient, not just for muscle building, but in terms of satiety, meaning the feeling of fullness, the feeling of not being hungry. Every meal for me needs to be centered around a protein source because twofold. I want to hold on to as much muscle as possible, but I also want to feel full because it's those gnawing hunger pains that are going to set me off track. So I try my best to focus every meal around a protein source. And I've found that sometimes a whey protein shake or just mixing it in with the whole food that I'm having can really help hold off some of that hunger. So like I talked about earlier, mixing my protein, the oatmeal cookie flavor or the cinnamon toast crunch flavor from Raw Nutrition, those are the two go-tos with some oatmeal. Man, you cannot beat those. Give them a try. Will help kind of bridge the gap until I get to my second meal. Speaking of, let's hear about it right now. All right, back again for meal number 2. Usually I'd have this meal at work, but I have a little bit of a break today, so I've been able to come home and record it here in the house. Nice old bookshelf in the background. A little bit of a different space, right? So usually this is what I call poverty meal because it's not very much. It's just a mid-morning snack to kind of get me from breakfast to my pre-workout meal. But I will have one cheese stick, Sargento pepper jack cheese stick for the win, and then I will have one serving of beef jerky, Kirkland brand steakhouse beef jerky. So that'll be, the cheese stick is 80 calories, the beef jerky is 60 calories, and I will also have my first protein shake of the day. I am loving the Raw Nutrition Fruity Pebbles protein. I think it's just called Fruity Cereal for licensing purposes, but that stuff tastes incredible. So that'll usually bridge me over to pre-workout meal. The calories come out to about 270, 110 in the protein shake, 60 for the beef jerky, 80 for the pepper jack cheese. We've got a good decent amount of protein. I think it's around 35 grams, maybe 40 because the protein shake has 25 in it. But it's a solid little bridge meal. I find that if I spread my meals out more and more throughout the day, that I don't find the need to binge towards the end of the day because I have had food, right? I feel psychologically like I've eaten something, so I don't feel like I need to catch up. So that could be a tip that you could implement, is spreading your meals out a little bit more. It's really helped me a lot. I used to have a big problem with binging towards the end of the day, and now I feel like I've kind of gained control over that because I'm eating smaller meals throughout the rest of the day. So that's meal number 2. Poverty meal, as I affectionately call it. We will check back in for the pre-workout meal. Poverty meal. One of my favorite meals of the day. I'm a big beef jerky guy. Again, protein source, easy to get in, doesn't go bad. I know some non-beef jerky people really wouldn't go for the beef jerky there. And again, we've got to stay consistent. We've got to stay on track. So finding a protein source that works for you. Maybe it's a Lunchable, maybe it's a pack of some crackers and some deli meat, something that's going to be a little bit lower calorie because it is just a bridge meal to get us to our second meal, but something with high protein that's going to help stave off a little bit of that hunger. So finding those options that work for you is what's going to be best. Again, consistency and staying on track is key. Okay, folks, we're back in the kitchen, whipping up the pre-workout meal. Just got back from work. Finished up. I'm a little bit more caffeinated, as you can see, kind of projecting the voice a little bit more. What's great about Fridays, which is the day that I'm recording this on, is Friday is meal prep day. I have a wonderful wife, as you know. If you check out the Black Bear Barbell podcast, you get to see her and hear her thoughts. But she is incredible in every shape and form. And so on Fridays, she's off from work and she does our meal prep for us. So I'm going to show you quickly. We've got the ground turkey right here. A little bit of rice here in that little pot right there. I don't know if you can see it. Yep. And that's going to last us for the entire week. So usually I go with 4 ounces pre-workout and 6 ounces post-workout. So 10 ounces of ground turkey a day. It is a lot, but you know, we go through it pretty well. And then we'll go through pots of rice pretty much every day. So you'll see that rice and ground turkey, or rice and some sort of protein, is my go-to source because I like to be modular. I like to be able to move my grams and ounces and my weight around to fit my macros a little bit better. So I'm gonna whip this up and then I'll show you the finished product and the macros here in a second. All right, so we got the rice bowl right here. As you can see, it's a little bland. Usually we put some vegetables on it, some onions, some green peppers and stuff like that, but we didn't have any available. The other key ingredient, you gotta douse that bad boy in sriracha. I am a huge fan of sriracha. I put sriracha on pretty much everything. So that's the go-to. That's gonna be the pre-workout meal. So some macros for you. 77 grams of rice, which comes out to be 100 calories. I'll put up the macros right here from my tracking app. 4 ounces of ground turkey. I also do my pre-workout right here with my pre-workout meal, obviously. That's 2 scoops of Gorilla Mode, an excellent pre-workout. We also have a little tortilla. Oh yeah, I told you, tortillas are king. So the tortilla is it's from a brand called Olay. They're marketed as like keto tortillas, but I don't know, dude. That's the best tasting thing I've ever had in my life. 80 calories for the burrito size. Goodness gracious, it's awesome. It's another way for me to pump up my food volume a little bit more. Just feel like I'm eating a little bit more food. So it's super helpful for me because this is a mental game for your boy. You know, I'm just trying to figure it out in terms of trying to trick myself to say that I'm eating a lot more food than I am. So I'll do my pre-workout, and then I also have my intra-workout shake here, which is just EAAs. Now, EAAs are not entirely important if you're getting adequate protein, but like the great philosopher Christoph Waltz says,
it's like a reward.
Right, it's like a reward. So I like the flavor of it. It's the pineapple flavor from Raw. I'm a huge Raw fan, as you can tell already. So I just have it so I can sip on something in the gym. Not going to be too calorically dense, and it's going to be able to kind of fuel me through the workout. And if I'm getting a little bit of boost from the essential amino acids, then cool. But the research does kind of bear out that you don't really need them. So that's pre-workout. I will see you for post-workout after I get done training. We got deadlifts today, so that's going to be fun. The pre-workout and the post-workout nutrition windows are two of the most important for anyone who's trying to put on size or lose fat. But for me, it's especially important because I am still in a powerlifting phase of training, meaning my reps are heavy. I'm training out at a pretty intense weight. I'm in the gym for an hour and a half, so trying to get those carbs in that I may be missing before my workout is super important for me. You saw me talk about having a fast digesting carb, some rice, to get some energy in before I head into the gym. Some rice, a protein source, and a tortilla. I'm a big tortilla guy. Again, it helps up the food volume a little bit so that I feel like I'm eating more than I actually am. But pre-workout, it's very important to get in some carbohydrates. Carbs are not the enemy as long as they are within the macro profile of your day-to-day eating and your calories are within your calorie count. I'm gonna make the hyperbolic statement that there are no bad foods. There is just context. Does it fit into your macro plan? Does it fit into your calories for the day? Is it appropriate to be eating pre-workout or post-workout? You don't want a meal with a lot of fats pre-workout because they take a lot of energy to digest. They sit in your stomach. You feel a little crappy when you're in the gym. So an easily digestible carb source, an easily digestible protein source, and you're good to go. Now that we've got pre-workout nutrition taken care of, let's see what post-workout nutrition looks like. All right, folks, back from the gym. Deadlift day went really well. The energy in the gym was super high. It's Friday, so it's usually pretty pumping in there in Muscle City. It's a great gym. If you're ever in the Norcross area, check it out. Anyway, post-workout meal, very similar to the pre-workout meal. We've got our bowl of ground turkey, rice, got some vegetables in there now. About to put some sriracha on it. We do 50 grams of rice, 6 ounces of ground turkey, vegetables. Who tracks vegetables? Not even important. Just some extra volume. Like I keep saying, tricking yourself into thinking that you're eating more food is the key. So adding in these vegetables that are very low calorie but very high food volume can help a ton. We also have 2 cheese sticks and our keto tortillas. We got a medium one and a burrito size one because again, your boy loves his tortillas. So we're gonna down this. Again, here are the macros from the food tracker that I'm using. If you want the specific breakdown, you can check it out right here. But we've got 2 more meals after this one. We're gonna eat, chill out. It is Friday, so we're relaxing a little bit. I will see you for dinner. That'll be our next one. The trend is very clear, isn't it? I love modular food choices. I love just having a set amount of food that I can go up or down depending on my needs. So pre-workout, I need a little bit more carbs, so we bump the rice up a little bit. Post-workout, I need a little bit more protein, so we take the rice down and we bump the turkey up a little bit. I love it. It's simple. It's easy. At the end of the day, simplicity is king when it comes to fat loss, when it comes to dieting in general, muscle gain or fat loss. Being as simple as possible and not having to make choices is going to allow you to just put it on autopilot and understand that if you're eating very similar things every day, you know the macros. You start to know how much macros you have left for the day, how many more carbs or protein or fat you need to get into your system. I know variety is the spice of life, but when we're talking about a fat loss phase, it's going to be 8, 12, 16 weeks at most. Put the variety in your back pocket, wait until you've accomplished your goals, and then jump back into the variety and the better food choices. Understand that delaying gratification and just saying, you know what, I'm gonna eat very similar foods for this period of time to reach my goals is going to be the better way to help you. I truly believe that taking some variety away, sticking with your main simple foods for the duration of your diet is going to help you a ton. It has helped me a bunch. I've lost 60 pounds already, and we're getting closer and closer to it as we keep going. So now that we've got the variety talk out of the way, let's get back to my next meal of the day, which is going to be dinner. All right, back again with dinner. This is meal number 5 of 6. And stop me if you've heard this one before, but it is a rice bowl. Rice is super modular. You can change the portions to fit your macro needs. So for dinner, we're doing 100 grams of rice, a little bit higher than normal, but it's Friday. We're going a little wild. We've got flank steak on top. We're doing enchilada bowls. So we got flank steak, we've got some Mexican 4-cheese blend, some green peppers and onions that my beautiful wife has prepared for us. She's holding the camera. But that is quick and dirty, simple meal. We also have an apple. I've eaten 4 slices of it already because I'm hungry, but that's that. So we're doing 6 ounces of flank steak, 100 grams of rice. Here are the macros for that. If you want this specific breakdown, you can check that out there. We've got one more meal coming up. I will check in with you when we get there. One of my favorite meals of the week, the steak enchilada bowls. I'm a big steak fan. We try and limit our red meat to about 2 times a week, but it's not the worst thing in the world. My cholesterol is good. My blood pressure is good. Just make sure you're keeping track of your biomarkers. In terms of food selection, you've got to bring the context into it. That's what I always say. It's context specific. Flank steak, excellent choice. It's a little bit leaner of a meat. Basically for carbs, I'm sticking with rice most of the week. Sometimes we do potatoes with some Atlantic cod, but mainly, like I said, variety is the enemy for me right now. I'm trying to stay as consistent as I can with the food that's available to me. So we're just sticking with rice, and I have found that it's really, really helping. I can turn my brain off. I don't really have to focus on anything else. I know what the rice is going to give me. So that's what I'll say is just find something that you can tolerate for X amount of weeks and just put your head down and do it. Fat loss is not fun, but it's important if that's one of your goals to just find things that make it as easy as possible. We don't want to add any difficulty on top of it. All right, we have reached the last meal of the day. Let's go check in with Past Jonah and see what it was. All right, back for the last meal of the day, one that I affectionately call protein glue because that's kind of the consistency. We use Kirkland Greek yogurt, and without any flavor, this literally tastes terrible. But it is, 100 calories for 170 grams, and it's got 18 grams of protein, so you're not going to beat that with any Greek yogurt. Mix this bad boy up right here, slop it on into the bowl, and then on top of that, once we get 170 grams, like I said earlier, we've got our Fruity Pebbles raw nutrition. If you guys haven't tried any of the raw products, they're incredible. Again, definitely not sponsored by Raw, but I really like their stuff. I'm a raw boy. I like their flavor, some of the best tasting protein in the world. So we put a scoop of that in there, mix the bad boy up. It's a nice little treat, nice little way to end the day. A little bit of a sweet kick, kind of get you full, fill in all the crevices before you go to bed, because on a cut, sleeping can be really a struggle if you're not full or you don't feel satisfied going to bed. Can disrupt your sleep a little bit. So that's something that this is my last meal, usually around an hour before I go to bed, and I'll take my probiotic with that as well. So that's a full day of eating for me. I'm gonna send it to future Jonah to wrap the video up. Protein glue, one of my favorite meals of the day. I'm not a huge sweets guy, but I do find that, every now and again I get a little bit of a craving for it. So finding that protein powder that was a little bit sweeter, the Fruity Pebbles flavor, and an unsweetened Greek yogurt that I could just mix it up. It's kind of like ice cream. It's a little bit colder. You can trick your brain that you're having a dessert. It's pretty nice. Like I said, there's gotta be strategies to kind of fool yourself into thinking that you're eating what you would normally be eating. So that's a full day of eating for me. It comes out to around 2,200 to 2,300 calories depending on the day. It's a pretty solid spot. My maintenance calories estimated around 3,300, so I'm about 1,000 calorie deficit right now. I have been using Macro Factor as my food tracking app, and I'm gonna make a full dedicated video on it. It's one of the best food tracking apps I've ever used. I used to be a MyFitnessPal guy. I've made the switch, and I recommend it to anyone who's a little bit more experienced with food tracking. I'm doing the coached version of the plan where basically, depending on my weight loss, it will adjust my calories up or down every week. So I don't have to do any of the thinking myself. It does it all for me. It's an excellent app. Look out for a full video on Macro Factor coming soon. That's gonna be it for today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of a tour of my house, a little bit of a tour of my kitchen. and what we are eating on a day-to-day basis to continue our fat loss. Just a little bit of context, I started at 330 pounds about a year and a half ago. We are down this morning to 260 pounds with 20 pounds left to go. It has been nothing but success so far, and we're gonna keep grinding and keep achieving that goal. Once we get there, I'll talk to you a little bit more about maintenance and what a bulking cycle will look like. We're gonna keep talking about nutrition on this channel, so go ahead and subscribe if that stuff is interesting to you. If you've got any questions on food choices, calorie counts, anything like that, there's a ton of videos on the channel. You can also comment down below. You can join the Discord and message me directly. I would love to hear all of that stuff from you. Let's get a dialogue going. Have a great rest of your week, folks. I'll see you on Wednesday for a little bit of a fun video. Wednesdays are just times that we meme on this channel. You can check those out. Get strong, stay strong. I hope your nutrition's going well. See you in the next one. Peace.